Hey Aggies, need to get to Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth Metro, Austin, San Antonio, or other cities? Ditch the bus and try Hitch to book a guaranteed car ride. Hitch, comfy, safe, and affordable daily rides between Texas cities. As an official transportation provider, Hitch even has pickup locations right on campus. Download the Hitch app or visit ridehitch.com. Enter the code AggieLand for 30% off your first 4 rides. That's ridehitch.com. Welcome back to the Home Turf Podcast. My name's Hunter Mitchell,
Cade Harris.
and it's that time of year again.
Man,
It's
A&amp Bama week, Jimbo
date-
birthday week.
The date circled in a crimson marker on the calendar every year.
Yeah, and this year, I mean, it's always circled, but this year compared to the last couple years, it's
Circled, bolded,
double circled,
highlighted, even italicized somehow. They cut out the date and italicized it.
Oh man,
Changed the font. Man,
we have got a exciting game on deck here in College Station.
energy is, dare I say, palpable.
Shout out Buzz Williams.
Shout out Buzz Williams. Hey, they know a thing or two about beating Bama once.
Yes, beating Bama in College Station.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
So man, what a week. It in a weird way feels even more hyped up and like excited of a matchup between these two teams than it was like last year, the year after the whole, the first season after the whole like finger pointing, he said, she said, NIL throwdown between Nick Saban and Jimbo.
Yeah, definitely has to do with the way A&M was performing that season.
No, 100%, yeah. But even then, that being said, past 2 seasons, you have of course, everyone knows the game-winning field goal set small, field rush, everyone goes crazy. And then last year, you have the almost won the game last second for A&M against Alabama's now starting quarterback, who was then backup quarterback. So, man, there's a lot of headlines that will be solved, a lot of headlines that will be thrown out whenever whoever wins this game.
You want to do a little discussion of what went down this past weekend, though?
Yeah, so we didn't get to talk about, Connor Wigman going down.
That's right.
Yeah, because the technical issues. But that being said, Max Johnson is a starting quarterback, and if he would have started the beginning of the year, I don't think anyone would be batting an eye right now.
No, he'd be starting for the team that they're going to be facing this weekend.
He has looked like a real stud. Makes great that touchdown pass to Evan Stewart was immaculate.
Both of them this past 2 weeks.
Just right where they needed to be. He's just looked good. I'm so terrified when he runs the ball though. Please slide.
Man, there's a difference between being tough and being smart.
Just slide.
Please don't go in with your shoulder again, man.
Just get on the ground, please.
I understand. Get the first down, but be smart. There's a lot more importance between the rest of your season than a single first down.
Yeah, especially when you're trying to get the first down. There's 3 Arkansas defenders staying between your way. Just get on the ground.
Yeah, the game's on the line, like Max talked about in his press conference after the game. I'll give him a little leeway.
Yeah.
If he's got to score a freaking touchdown, I don't want him to slide. Go in, go with your shoulder if you're gonna win. If you're trying to win the game, if you need to win the game,
Yeah.
But if you're up like 11 points, I think that's how much they were up when he fumbled.
Just probably get on the ground.
Just slide. Take MLB playoffs are going on. Go turn on some MLB games and learn how to slide.
But other than that, Max Johnson has really stepped up. I mean, the offense has not missed a beat. They've kept going, kept performing. I think everyone's been thoroughly impressed with the offense, especially after last year. Has been night and day difference. I mean, there's a few things that you'd like to switch up. You'd like them to capitalize more on touchdowns, not kick as many field goals. That's really the main gripe I'd have. But run games have been improving. Passing hasn't missed a beat with Max Johnson coming in. Wide receivers have looked great. Nice Smith, Evan Stewart have looked absolutely ridiculous. I think offensively they look they're like there's very few places to find faults. But then you hype up the offense. Then you look on the other side of the ball. Sweet Lord, that
Yeah.
is that is that is exactly what you wanted from the A&M defense,
What
especially the
a
line.
what a ways we have come from week 2, where now I'm thinking that the defense is a better unit than the offense.
Yeah.
And after that weekend, I thought it was a tremendous gap
Hmm.
between the A&M offense and the A&M defense.
And
Now
that's not even a slight on the offense.
it's not.
That's I mean, A&M's defense is number 5 in total defense in the entire country.
It is absolutely dominant up front. These defensive linemen are getting after it. The linebackers are making the right calls, namely Tarian York has
Hmm.
really, really impressed.
Both
He,
linebackers.
oh
Edgerrin
yeah,
Cooper,
that's
dude.
that.
Coop's
Well,
going nuts.
that's a given for me.
Yeah.
It's just like, what were we gonna get
Yeah.
out of people who aren't named Edgerrin Cooper?
Hmm.
And I think
Well, and even then,
Chris Russell.
Gets a pick 6.
He's looked really good these last 2 games. He looked good against Arkansas, or not Auburn. Got a sack and a half.
Yeah.
Auburn, like you say, or Arkansas, like you said, get the pick 6. And then Tarian York's continuing to improve week to week. That guy's going to be an absolute stud in the SEC.
And then you look at the maroon wall.
You could just list name after name.
Yeah, I'm doing players to watch for this game, and I have Walter Nolan on there. And in my paragraph, I was like, you really could just pick any name for this defensive line.
read that.
You literally could just pick anyone.
Shamar Turner, dominant. Fadil Diggs, dominant.
Even McKinley Jackson had a really good game against Arkansas.
That guy is a freaking beast, and he's going to go high in the NFL draft this year.
What I love about Walter Nolan is his ability to just kind of place his hand on someone, and they can't move. Like, if he makes contact with your hand, like with his hand on you, like most of the time, running back slip a tackle, quarterback slip a tackle, it feels like he has like stickum on his hands.
Yeah.
And like he places his hand on your shoulder pad, you are touching earth.
Yeah, I was talking to Luke up in the press box before the game, and we were just talking about bringing down KJ Jefferson, and I'm just like, you got to hit him like a running back. Like you can't be soft with that, and you can't tackle with the legs. But
it felt like
unless your name's Walter Nolan,
they felt like they were just throwing him around.
They were, but I'm saying for Walter, like he had that sack where he just dove at the legs and freaking brought him down because he's a freaking beast.
That is a very big human being, to say the
Man.
very least. But like that entire defensive
It looks
line,
like he's grown since he's gotten on campus
he
too.
definitely has. Yeah, 100%. But like you look at that defensive line, they are second in the country in total sacks, 5th in total defense. They are the 4th team in the last 20 seasons to have a span of 2 games where they had 15 tackles for loss in each game. Against 2 SEC opponents.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's all you really need to say.
The numbers just absolutely talk for themselves.
Exactly. You look at those numbers. I don't care that it's up against a couple weaker teams in the SEC. It's still the SEC, and it's still the SEC West. It's unheard of. The amount of sacks, the amount of tackles for loss they're putting up against these SEC schools, and you got to give credit to DJ Durkin. There was tons of flack coming his way after the Miami game, and deservedly so. But it looks like they've kind of changed it up a little better. The D line's executing a lot better.
Blitz
There's that word.
Have looked unique. They've looked like really good blitz packages that sometimes they can't tell where they're coming from. And that's what you have to have, because if you cause disruption, eventually that D line is going to get to the quarterback. You just have to throw off the quarterback's rhythm a little bit, and then let Fidel Diggs, Walter Nolan, McKinley Jackson,
Shamar Stewart, LT Overton,
just anyone.
It's
just get in there.
It's scary. I am really blessed that I'm not a quarterback in the SEC right now.
I feel like I agree. I feel like it's probably a good thing I'm not a quarterback in the SEC West.
If
right
I'm
now.
Jalen Milroe watching film this weekend, I am getting the ice packs ready for when I get back to Tuscaloosa, because he's going to be a little bit sore.
Especially when you look at it, it's very hard to find such a night and day drastic difference between two sides, like two directly competing sides. Alabama's offensive line is bad.
Yeah, I mean
They're
not as bad as what we've seen last week, but it's not
they're
it's not good.
they're 126th in the country in sacks allowed and 119th in tackles for losses allowed.
And that's not up against the greatest
That
competition.
is that is bad.
With an already average at best quarterback.
Yeah, so Jalen Milroe is this feels like it could be a little KJ Jefferson-esque, a run-based quarterback who, sometimes can struggle getting the pass game going with a subpar offensive line going against this defensive front. It may be really tough for him to get going. I think that this will be a very defensive battle. I think Alabama's defense is really, really solid, as it usually is. They're top 25 in the country
There's
as
no
well.
doubt about that.
I mean, Kool-Aid McKinstry, one of the best cornerbacks in the country.
Caleb Burton's looking good.
Yeah, I think they have a lot
Or
of
Caleb Downs, sorry.
Yeah, they have a lot of really good secondary. Of course, they're always going to have a good, solid front. It's going to be a really defensive battle, I think. I think there's not going to be as many points as maybe either team would like, but man, it's really hard to not stare at that glaring. I mean, that's a alarm going off when you look down at it.
Yeah, I liked your comparison with Jefferson, but Milroe, I mean, they play similar style of football, but Milroe compared to Jefferson, he's not as
Yeah.
big. He's not as good throwing the ball as KJ. The decision making is definitely better on KJ's end. And if I'm a Bama fan looking at that, seeing what A&M's D line did to Arkansas's offensive line, how much pressure they were bringing to KJ,
Yeah.
how KJ could never find momentum in that game, which was key for A&M in winning that one, was prevent the momentum. If Jalen Milroe gets momentum, he can turn up too. But I just think it's a worse quarterback situation.
Yeah, no, I can get behind that. I mean, and then you look at Alabama had 43 rushing attempts last game. And then you
Wow.
look at A&M's rushing defense, and A&M is a number
It's
20,
where they're the best.
number 20 in the country in rushing defense. So it's like, where is the solution offense going to come? And it's going to have to come through the air.
Which is scary if you're
Yeah.
a Bama fan. Scary that, yes, A&M's defensive backs are probably the weakest point of their team. Luckily to that defensive line, they haven't been tested as much, but you've got to give credit to them too. A lot of them are coverage sacks.
Number 9 in the country in passing yards allowed.
Crazy. And
Yeah.
you look crazy because you know the numbers that Miami put up against
So
you.
if Miami has half their numbers, A&M's passing defense is probably top 5 in the country in rushing and passing defense, probably top 5 in both categories, which is absolutely absurd. So I think for Milroe, it's going to have to come through the air, and it's going to be, can he find time to get it in the air? 2 wide receivers. And again, it kind of feels like Arkansas kept wanting to spread the field and go deep in last week's game, but they simply did not have time. There was like a stretch into the end of the game where I think KJ got sacked probably 3 plays in a row, and you're like, what are you supposed to do? And
Nothing.
I don't think they have the same weapons they've had before, and I mean, like, they have Jermaine Burton, of course, who may not even play this game. He's still banged up, and jury's still out on him. They say like he's gonna work through practice and see how he feels. But man, if he weren't to play, you don't have the running backs that you had before. I mean, you got McClellan, who is, again, I feel like we look at Bama running backs of the past, you've definitely had better. Even last year, I think Jahmyr Gibbs was probably better. It's just you're trying to find like a real, like, again, I'm trying not to just be like, A&M.
The thing that gives me hope for Bama is their defense.
Yes, if Bama wins this game, it's because their defense shuts down A&M's offense.
Can they force turnovers to set their offense up in good position? Can they score on defense?
Yeah.
A lot of factors in that.
And I mean, if you look at A&M's offense last week, I mean, fumble, recovered by Arkansas, the pick six. Another fumble recovered by Arkansas late in the game that kind of let them maybe get back in it.
Mm-hmm.
That was an area of concern for A&M. So if Alabama's defense can take advantage of A&M's offense and force turnovers, like you said, then set up Alabama's offense with a short field. Then I think really that is where Alabama can win this game, is taking advantage of A&M mistakes. But just like
But you can't. That's what they're relying on.
Yeah, but head to head, that's really hard to like you said, rely on.
Just used to be the other way around. A&M's hoping. A&M going in playing Alabama, you always felt like they had to play a perfect game and you had to capitalize on their mistakes. I feel like it's flipped for this one.
Yeah, I think at home, 2:30 primetime slot. I mean, people have been camping out since Auburn.
Those ticket pool lines were insane this week.
Yeah, where'd you pull?
234.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Which row?
I think up in the 20s, maybe.
Okay, 20's fine. If you get 34 to 38, that's the bad one.
Yeah, I know. It's under that raft. You can't even see the scoreboard. You can't even hear the loudspeaker, which
super weird.
Sucks. I was stuck in there for Florida and Ole Miss last year.
Stuck there for Kent State.
But
I never pulled second deck past that because I didn't want to risk that again.
Yeah, second deck is my favorite. I feel like you can't see the game as well in the first deck. So if you get that spot, 234 is right there on the 50, basically.
Second deck's the best deck.
Man, I love my seats. I feel like those are some of the best seats in the house.
It's press box, but
and those last 5 minutes you get to watch on the field, huh?
But back to the situation at hand. It's just hard to find a bright spot for Bama other than the fact that I think their defense will match up pretty well. I mean, they've got a good secondary, but then again, A&M's wide receiver group was really deep and really talented. So, yeah, I think Alabama's defense is going to have to step up and force turnovers, like we mentioned, which they can do because A&M was a little sloppy with the ball last two games. A defensive touchdown allowed in the past two games. But other than that, I mean, it really looks like A&M has a really big upper hand in this one. And again, this may age poorly. They may go out and Alabama's offensive line steps up in the week and completely stifles them. But that's just the nature of the sport. I mean, we're just looking at it strictly from analytics standpoint. And it's really hard to find a place where Alabama has a big edge over A&M in anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just one last thing I want to say about that whole, A&M D-line, Auburn O-line matchup is, you talk about that situation at the end of the game where KJ felt like he got sacked like 3 times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Just goes back to the depth and how much they freaking wear down the offensive line. Because that offensive line, those 5 players are playing the whole game.
Yeah.
We haven't even mentioned guys who late in the game start making plays. Albert Regis.
Yeah.
Isaiah Rakes.
Yeah.
DJ Hicks is even in there, and he's looking like, he can, cause havoc in the middle.
Yeah, you got dudes who can play one quarter and sit the other one, drink a smoothie, and come back for the third.
Exactly. They're fresh. They're constantly fresh the entire game, and that's why it seems like they get better as the game goes because they're wearing down that offensive line that's out there for the whole game.
So I think the big thing to watch is A&M's defensive line versus Alabama's offensive line. Will Jalen Milroe be able to pass the ball? Will they maybe try to get the ball on the ground with McLennan?
And then I think Bobby Petrino versus that defense.
Yeah, and seeing what they can draw up there.
Mm-hmm.
So, that being said, I need your score prediction.
Yeah. Man, I can't believe I'm saying this. A&M is winning 27-17 against Alabama.
I have... Hold on. Is there wood in here?
Yeah, right here on this table.
Okay.
Knock on it.
I am saying 31-17.
Jeez, dude. Oh, man, I've been thinking about my score predictions since this morning, and I've wanted to say 31-17. The thing that's holding me back is that it is Bama. Like, just the name, and the coach.
No, this could very easily be one score or blow out either way. This is the biggest crapshoot of a game I think I could really put in because you don't know. You have Nick Saban on the sideline, And betting a 2-score victory against a Nick Saban team feels like begging for disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, I think A&M matches up the most perfect way you can possibly hope for as a coach. They're just going to have to go out there if they want to win. They got to execute.
There we go. This is the second mention on the podcast of the word.
Again, I keep saying it's growing on me. But
I like it. We're executing well.
That is our preview for A&M Alabama. Some hopefully not freezing cold takes.
I hope not.
We'll see you next week. Big game this weekend. Probably biggest game of the year for A&M. But for us, that is all for this week. I'm Hunter Mitchell.
I'm Cade Harris.
And we will catch y'all next time.